with it. Look, I'm unimpressed by the CBO and the sanctity of CBO numbers, apart from the fact that they got it wrong by a lot last time. Of course, you're going to get an increase in the number of uninsured when you abolish the provision that requires people, especially young people who are compelled to buy health insurance, that abolishes the compulsion to buy health insurance that's completely uneconomical and unnecessary. So if you abolish that compulsion, you're going to get fewer people who purchase health insurance. That isn't a calamity, that's a rational economic decision. And second, the major expansion of the coverage was from the lifting of the Medicare, of the Medicaid cap. Medicaid was intended to cover the poor. The Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare, raised that to 400% of the poverty level. Why is that a sacred number? If you reduce it to 200%, you're not even talking about the poor here. This is into the middle class. There's a huge expansion of entitlements in a country that thinks of itself as serious, says that everybody says we have to have entitlement reform, and the minute you do something that actually acts on that, you get screeches of horror like from Chuck Schumer and accusations of cruelty.
Molly, we spent a lot of time talking about this health care bill. Just perspective, obviously most of America gets their health insurance through their employer or from the government in Medicaid, Medicare. The percentage, I think, is about 6 or 7% of the country, and that is what this bill is really about.
Right, and also, as Senator Sass just talked about earlier in the show, the main problems that we have are with these ties of health insurance to jobs, and until that type of thing is fixed, we will continue to have the sort of structural problems in our health care bills.
So do they get something done? Do they start? I mean, how does this work?
I think that both House and Senate Democrats would be unwise to not realize how frustrated people are with how many times they have sent them to the Hill to fix things, and that if they don't fix something, I don't think people will be very patient here.
Okay, let's listen to Mick Mulvaney pitching the budget up on the Hill.
What we've been doing for too long, both parties, by the way, in this city, have been taking money from people without laying out a plan for how we're ever going to pay it back. And we start doing that with this budget. This budget does balance within the 10-year window, something that is completely new in this town. But I was excited to be able to keep the president's promise. By the way, the budget is nothing more than a collection of his promises. That's how we wrote it.
We're going to reject this morally bankrupt budget, and we will resist it here in Congress, but most importantly, in the streets of America.
Even Republicans know this is a bad budget that has no chance of being enacted. But what an awful place to start the debate.
It is shameful. It is immoral. It is indecent. Tear this thing up. Tear this thing up. Tear up this budget.
Strong letter to follow. AB, every budget essentially doesn't go anywhere up on Capitol Hill immediately. It starts the process, just to put that in perspective. But what about this budget and how it's being received?
Right. Well, you never have to listen to the Democrats. I say that often here. Just listen to the Republicans. Yes, it's dead on arrival because all presidents' budgets are dead on arrival. Democrats never wanted to vote for Obama's budgets. They didn't want to support Obama's budgets. The Congress writes the budgets, and so it's going to start all over, and it's not going to resemble this. What you hear Republicans saying now are, they're really good guiding principles. I am supportive of increased defense spending and getting our fiscal house in order, but they're not backing any of the specifics in here. And they have a really tough road ahead because they want to be supportive of the principles, but they don't have an alternate plan.
We will follow it all the way along. Panel, thank you. When we come back in a